Hello, my name is Debola. I'm one of the trainers here. I'm sitting in for lead trainer. He's actually on the call, but he's in transit, so he's not able to, take you through this. But I hope to do justice to this, hopefully. I work as a control data analyst in one of the leading banks here in the UK. And I am one of the trainers in terms of data analysis here at Austratech. So I'll be talking to you today about understanding data analysis and to encourage you if that is one career path you're considering. What is data and what is data analysis? Data is a piece of information, raw facts, figures. It could be words, it could be numbers, but it's just the raw facts. It's just there. It's just sitting there. Your name is data. Your age is data. The food you like the best is data. Basically, any piece of information is data. But one thing about data is that it just sits there if you're not doing anything to it. It just sits there until you start analyzing it. So we're going to get to why do we analyze data, but the processes or that is involved in data analysis is cleaning it. We transform it, we interpret the data to gain insight. And what do we mean by saying we clean data, we transform it? Because it's just a raw fact. It's just sitting there. We have to do a lot of, cleaning to it. We have to do a lot of transforming it so that it's useful for us to interpret. So let's see data as the analogy we use here is that data is like your ingredients when you're trying to cook. So data is the ingredients you're trying to cook jollof rice, the pepper, the tomato, the rice, all those things, the oil, they're all the data. They are ingredients until you start putting them together. So the process of cleaning it, we also do that with data. The process of transforming it, we blend the pepper. We don't just throw it in the way it is. Those are transforming the data. And then when we start to cook it, that is, we're now using different tools to, analyze the data to get, information that we require from it. So basically, that's how. If you remember that analogy, you always remember what data analysis is. Basically, we don't just jump into it. We start, how do we know what to do first? How do we know, oh, we're supposed to clean it first before we start transforming it? So in that sense, there's this life cycle that we all follow as data analysts, is the end-to-end data analysis life cycle. So the first on the list is to identify the questions. So pretty much, if you want to collect data, data is everywhere, like I said, but you have to be intentional when you're collecting data, and you need to identify questions. You need to ask yourself, what are we trying? So basically saying you start with the end in mind. What do we need? And then we start to say, okay, these are the types of data that we want to collect. So it is the question that will help guide us to knowing what types of data to collect. So the next thing is, now that we know the questions we're trying to answer, we start to collect the data. It could be the age of the people in a school. It could be people's names. It could be the number of clicks on the social media. So those types of data. It could be account number. It could be the amount of loan you're trying to get from. All those things are formed from the question. So knowing the right data. If you collect the wrong data, then it's not useful at the end of the day. So then the next thing is, we collect our pepper and tomato before we throw it in, we have to clean the data. Because of the types of tool we use to analyze the data, they understand only, a type of entry you give them. So you need to clean that data, knowing that my tool only understands data if it's entered this way. So that way we clean our data. We could take out my Python doesn't want to see you say capital letter A and then you're using small letter A. They're not the same thing. So you have to, give the tool the language. You have to speak the language of the tool you're using. So that is what we mean by data cleaning. And then the next thing, after we've cleaned our data, we analyze and model it. So in this way, we transform during this the process of cleaning. Bear in mind, we also transform the data. So transformation is like technically something like cleaning. So after we're done doing data cleaning and transformation, the next thing is we go to analyzing the data. We put them on, in the tool we're using. It could be SQL, it could be Python, it could be Excel, which is amazing. It's powerful. We use it to analyze our data. And what do we mean by that? We like you see on the screen, it could be modeling the data. When we model data, we're trying to form some sort of a formula for the question we're trying to answer. Say for instance, you log in a complaint, to a bank that, oh, I mistakenly, transferred money to another person, or I was supposed to collect this amount, but this is what they were giving me. So when it comes to data modeling, we at the bank could model the data, all the data we've collected in the past, to say, okay, this is the number of days it will take you to hear back from us after lodging that complaint. So when you put in the amount, you put in the time, so it will be there in the formula. If you're conversant with the formula, say y equals mx plus c, for those that know a bit about mathematics. So that is some sort of modeling, so that y is what you're looking for, and then x is maybe the amount you lost in the process of you trying to. So by the time you use that model, it will give you the number of days that you're expected to wait before you can hear back from the bank. I'm just giving you that sort of analysis when it comes to modeling. Then data analysis, it could be you trying to find out the highest selling product, put in your data, and boom, in 1 minute you get, less than a minute actually, you get the facts about the highest selling product, the lowest selling product, and stuff like that. So that is data analysis, depending on what you're trying to find out from the data that you've collected and you're now analyzing. So the next thing is visualizing your data. Now that you have analyzed your data, you've done all sorts of it. You've transformed it, you've told the tool to give you this, give me that, transform it this way and give me this. The next thing is you want to visualize your data. Uh, say non-technical people, they don't understand that analogy of my y mx equals mx plus c. They don't understand it. So you have to present your findings in a way that they are familiar with. Even your top executives in your companies, they don't understand this. They need to see it in a more friendly way. They need to see the chart. It needs to be interactive. Say, the amount of if I'm trying to sell, if I'm trying to buy a two-bedroom flat in so area, so you just do your visuals in such a way that they click. All those things that you see online when you're trying to buy things, they say filter, and you filter. Okay, I want to buy red shoe. It has to be high heel. Those are visualization. So that is how data should be presented to your audience, to be friendly, to be easy on the eye. So those are the things you do to your findings when you're done with them. And you need to make, and there are tools that do this very easily. We have Power BI, which is one of the things we teach here at Austratech. We use Power BI, we teach SQL, and maybe a little bit of Python, because that is actually very big, but it depends on how quickly you're catching things. So that's data visualization. The next thing is communicating of insights. As much as you put this your findings in, as much as you've transformed it into visuals that easy to read, you need to be a good storyteller. You need to be able to, tell the stories in your visualization. Yes, they are there, but you're presenting your findings. So you need to know how to communicate your insights to your stakeholders, your audience. You need to know how to do that. And we teach this too at Austratech. So the next is action and monitoring. So pretty much this one is you after you've communicated your insights, we most times as data analysts we we advise on actions to be taken. We monitor the data to see if there's anything changing in it. So we present the data. We present even our own, advice on the data that is based on this. We recommend your recommendation. We recommend that you do this, and then as it goes on, we don't just leave the data there. We keep monitoring it to see if there's any change, in the data, and that affects, our actions and our recommendations. So yeah, next slide, please. So why pursue a career in data analysis? Yeah, to be honest, like I told you, I'm not the data lead here. I'm actually not supposed to be presenting this at the moment, but I am one of the success stories in this, line. I'll tell you many reasons why you should pursue a career in data analysis. First of all, is in high demand in across different industries, just like accounting. Data has become like that. It cuts across every, industry, education, in financial industry, law, so many things. You can work anywhere in the world, any industry. It could be medical in hospitals. In fact, they rely so much on data, so you're not limited. It's not boxing you to a particular industry. We're everywhere. We're needed everywhere. And then another, so that increases your opportunity. Then another thing is it's influence key business decisions, and that's the reason why it is needed across different industries, because people don't just these days, if any serious companies don't just make decisions anyhow. They rely on data, and those companies that rely on data, they always do better than those that rely on their emotions, on their, oh, I think. People don't do that. Serious companies don't do that anymore. They rely on their data. And also for the earning, I mean, why go into it if it's not going to give me money? So you stand to earn for entry level from 28 here in the UK, from 28 to 40K, and the mid level is about 40 to 65K, and then the senior data analyst about 65 to 100K. And I tell you what, I know those that are earning more than that where I work as data analyst, because that is data analysis is like the stepping stone for so many opportunities you can have in data, data world. Opportunities in AI and digital transformation. Of course, there's AI here to make your work easier, and some people will be like, oh yeah, there's AI coming to take our job. I laugh. AI is not able to take your job. I use AI when I'm working, and I tell you, if you don't know what you're doing, AI will quickly throw you around. You will be in the gutter before you know what you're doing. So at the moment, AI is not able to take your job. So I tell you that it only makes your work easier, and you use it when you already know what you're doing. You cannot safely use AI if you don't know what you're doing. And then for digital transformations as well. Can we move to the next slide, please? Okay, so skills required and effort and practice are key. I tell you because I told you I'm a success story, so I still have very, very good understanding of the skills you require, the amount of effort you require, and the practice. So for technical skills, you need Excel. Excel is that guy. Is very, very useful it can do a lot. The only limitation to it is it can't take as much data as Python will take, as much as SQL will take. So you need technical skills like Excel, which we are going to put you through here. You need SQL to query your data. I mean, what is the essence of being a data analyst if you can't talk to your database? Uh, you need SQL to query the database. You need a Power BI or Tableau to present your insights in, to build your visuals to make it easy for your audience and your stakeholders to understand what you're trying to say. And you need Python. As well as how they behave, in similar manner. You need those. They're heavyweights for those big data, analysis. Python is your guy, and not just the technical skills. And that's some of the mistakes that people make, thinking, oh yeah, when I know Excel, when I know SQL, I'm good to go. No, you need to practice, to have those soft skills, the problem solving skills, because you will have problems, and how you go about the problem is very, very interesting. It's not just throwing or the code language around. I can code. No. What are you doing with them? So you need to have, sometimes I work in the middle of the night trying to solve problems. I'm looking at the data. If I write it this way, if I write it that way, this is easier. This will run faster. This will give so you need to know how to problem solve. And then when it comes to presenting your insights, you need to be a good storyteller, like I said elsewhere earlier. You need to be a good storyteller. You need to know how to carry your audience along so that they are not bored, or they are not, you don't leave them wondering, oh, so what have you said? You need to know how to structure your findings to, communicate your insight. And then you need to be a critical thinker. You really need to be a critical thinker. I said before that I sometimes wake up in the middle of the night trying to put down my ideas. It could just be that's when something will come to me. Oh yeah, I can do it this way. I can do it that way. And then communication is key. Like the storytelling, you need to you need to ask questions. When you want to build something for people, you want to build that visualization, you need to ask them. They might have, preferences for the type of visual that they like. You need to communicate with them. You need to go back and forth, do walkthroughs with your stakeholders. So all of this we teach here at Austratech. We're going to carry you through learning not just the technical skills, but how you present, because you're going to be working on projects, you're going to work on project from start to finish. So those are the skills required, and effort and practice are key. Now, so I know people that they like the change, they love, oh, I'm now going to be a data analyst. Trust me, the effort you put, just like in everything in life, it doesn't just come to you. You have to be consistent. It's not mathematics, but it is mathematics in a way. Not in number, but in the type of effort that you put in. You will have to be intentional. You will have the zeal, the curiosity. You have to be curious as a data analyst. You have to see things and be like, oh, what is this trying to tell me? What is this trying to, where is it going? Where is it tending? Is it going down? What is the trend? Is it flat? Is it going up? Is there some sort of zigzag kind of, you know, um, insight there? So you need to be curious as a data analyst, and consistency. As to anything in life, consistency is absolute key, and you practice, practice, practice. So yeah, next. So how to start a career in data analysis. And if you're here on this program, the first thing you're doing, you are in the right direction, seeking knowledge. It might not be here, but the first thing is to seek knowledge, which you're doing. So you can give yourself, a pat on the back to say, oh, I'm in the right path. You're seeking knowledge. So in your seeking of knowledge, the first thing you need to do is to learn the basics. You don't need to go to the big guy. You don't need to go to Python to start learning how to be a data analyst, because it will get overwhelming. So the first place you want to start is Excel, SQL, and your visualization. That is where you start from. Excel is that, I told you, it is that guy. You overlook it, but you don't know it can do a lot. So know your Excel, know your SQL, and peak between your Power BI and your Tableau. We do Power BI here at Austratech. So learn those. We're going to help you with your Excel. We're going to help you with your SQL and the visualization part of it. And then to work on real projects. You can know all the skills for all you know, but if you don't know how to apply them to real life problems, you're just is like knowing one plus one is two, but you don't know that one orange plus another two oranges make three oranges. You don't know how to apply it. It's like knowing your times table, but you don't know how to apply it to what real, what problems. So here at Austratech, you're going to work on real projects. You're going to learn those things. You're not just going to learn them. We're going to teach you how to, you know, in use them, work on real life projects with them. And then as you go on, as you're doing one project, two project, the next is to start building your portfolios of projects. So as you're working, make sure you're documenting everything because if you go to interviews, that's what you fall back on what you've done before. If you've worked on many projects, you will be able to talk about those projects that you've worked on, and they're not going to be asking you, so with this project, which company did you know? They're not going to they're interested in what projects you worked on, not the industry, not the company that you worked in it for. And yeah, like GitHub, Power BI Public, LinkedIn, that is where you get your network from. Once you build your portfolio, try and get an account with this. On these platforms, network, join data community, you tend to learn a lot, especially that LinkedIn, you get to learn a lot. Like LinkedIn is my own Instagram, just scrolling through, you see beautiful presentation of how SQL works. So join those network, they'll help you. And then get certification. The first, especially because you're just starting out, it is those certifications that will tell your recruiter that this person is serious. Microsoft, Power BI, something there's Google Data Analytics and certification as well. So yeah, so those are the steps, and you're in the right path for even considering this at all for being on the call. Yeah. So as I'll close here today, data is everywhere. Data adds value. It's the fact that it's everywhere, and most serious companies are considering data before they make decisions. So in that case, they always have their data guy. It could just be one person. Small companies now having one guy. Schools, they have data to see how their children are doing and which teacher is getting the results, and analysis add value everywhere. And then no matter what you do, skill and practice. Skills alone is not enough. In fact, you'll forget it if you don't practice it. So when you build the skills, it's a continuous thing. You have to practice and practice and practice, and that's what will give you the success.